Hello and welcome back to That's So Auburn. Today is part 2 of our intern discussion, this time with our amazing Human Resources Department and the folks who put it all together. If you haven't yet listened to our previous episode, I highly recommend you stop, go back and listen because everything we talk about in this episode will make a lot more sense if you do. Plus, you'll get to hear 3 wonderful interns talk about all the amazing projects and accomplishments they've already made at the City of Auburn in the NextStepAuburn internship program. Today, I am talking with 3 incredible women in human resources, Chardae Gillespie, Melissa Medisch, and Bree Winters, who oversee the internship program. So stay tuned to learn more about the program, how it came to be, what's to come, and why the City of Auburn is so committed to the next generation of government workers. Welcome, ladies. It's good to have you with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So thanks for taking the time out of, I know what is an incredibly busy schedule in HR, to chat with me about the internship program we have here at Auburn. I am so excited about it. It's kind of, I would say, in its infancy, but you have all just embraced it so much, and the interns love it. If you haven't listened to the podcast, I don't want you to stop right now because we're in the middle of recording, but I want you to go and listen to it too because they have a lot of great things to say. So tell me a little bit, when did NextStepAuburn begin and why?
Well, this is Melissa. I'm the HR manager for the city, and it began officially last year in 2023. Some of our departments had interns previously, and it was kind of, if the department has a budget for it, then we'd love to have an intern. So we had an intern in 2022, and a couple other departments did as well. And the more that we were talking about it, being at local high schools, being at local colleges for job fairs, we really wanted an opportunity to kind of reach that next generation of workers and really encourage them to join local government. And actually, we thought of the name NextStepAuburn when Bree and I were at a local high school job fair and thinking about what is a journey like into local government and how could we tie that in? What can we make it so it's really encouraging and meaningful to both the students and also the mentors who are having interns over the summer. So we came up with NextStepAuburn, and I think the rest of it is on the way to the local government.
It's history, right?
The next step is history.
You talked about a couple of the departments having interns. And I know that the directors of those departments that didn't have interns were incredibly jealous. Right? They saw the cool work that they were doing, the interaction, and they were really jealous that they didn't have one. So kudos to all of you for what you did to make this happen. So Bree, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on how the program has gone so far.
Overall, I think the program is going great. We have 12 interns this summer. And so with that, I'm super busy with keeping them on task and getting them to all of the events. And so, so far from surveys, they've said that the Kent Hay tour with the anti-homelessness and going out and seeing the encampments and things of that nature that we have here at the city has been very impactful for them.
Yeah, I've heard them too. They were telling me that that's one of the best things that they have done as well. And for those of you that may not have listened to that part of our last podcast, Kent Hay is our anti-homelessness. Well, he's now the Human Services Director, but still oversees the anti-homelessness team. And so they go out into the encampments with Kent and his team, and they get a really good look at maybe a different aspect of life than they have ever seen before. And I think it helps them appreciate the breadth and the depth of the work that takes place in city government. So, Chardae, is there anything in particular that you've learned from year to year? What what to do, what not to do, things that you'd like to focus on?
To be honest, I'm just going to be transparent. I'm kind of removed from the internship program. I definitely help Bree hand in hand to move the program along. I think that so far from year to year, I think the Break to Educates has been very meaningful. And I think just really expanding those as much as we can is something that we're focusing on as well. Other than that, I would pass that to Bree to kind of, because she knows a little bit more details when it comes to like the specific programming.
Well, all right, Bree, the pressure's on. What do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see changed and maybe a focus?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that a lot of the interns have been saying is that opportunities for them to really engage and be really hands-on in the work. And so for this second year, we brought on opportunities for the interns to be able to do police ride-alongs. We've also given them a few more opportunities to do community service activities, which has been really great. They're required to do one volunteer community service activity.
Excellent.
But most of our interns have done several throughout the...
Really?
Yes. Most of my interns have already told me they've done 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
And we're in just week 6. So
That's amazing.
yes, it's very exciting that they're getting involved and that they see the effort that the city is putting in when it comes to our community. And so I think that is one of the big things, is just continuing to keep them engaged. I know that I have gotten some feedback here lately is that they want opportunities to do mock interviews. And so that is something that this year we're going to add it, even though it's like last minute, but we're going to make sure it happens. And so, like I said, they just want opportunities to really be engaged and really be hands-on with the work.
I think that's an outstanding idea. I am a big proponent of doing mock interviews. And if you work with Tammy, try and get me signed up so I can help with those. I would love to be involved in those.
Awesome.
So, Melissa, why do you think it's so important that the city of Auburn cultivate this next generation of Team Auburn talent?
Well, I think that we have seen, the last year we had 2 of our interns get hired on full time,
Yes.
which was really exciting for them, not necessarily in the department where they interned, but also being able to kind of see the value in the time that they spent at Team Auburn and then coming back and using that as a full-time career opportunity is really exciting. I think it's also important because we do have, especially in our engineering department, kind of those official apprenticeship programs where we can bring people in, mentor them into, an associate engineer, and then move them forward as a project engineer once they meet certain criteria and things like that, which are really exciting, especially for our unaffiliated recruitments, which Chardae handles the majority of our unaffiliated recruitments. And so I think this helps her as well, finding her pipeline of applicants.
Excellent. So, Chardae, maybe for those that may not know, what is an unaffiliated team member?
Yes. So an unaffiliated team member means that you are not in a union. So your position is not represented by a collective bargaining agreement, and it's considered non-represented. So it's unaffiliated. And to be honest, that's the majority of our positions here at the city of Auburn. Unionized positions are typically going to be field workers, individuals that are in Teamsters 117, and also police,
yes.
as well. And so I focus a lot on our unaffiliated. And so like Melissa was mentioning, is having that succession plan with our interns, starting with an intern to the associate, to an apprentice, to then become a project engineer is one route that we're really focusing on, as well as our planning department and community development. We do have planning assistants, which is considered kind of our internship for them as well. But then our planner 1, planner 2, senior planner, and things of that nature. So I think that's a lot of our focus in preparing the next generation to what to expect when it does come to government. I think there's always a stigma when it comes to governmental work. And I think that us as governmental workers, we really need to let individuals know how important government work is and how rewarding it can be. I started in government, thankfully. I did have some other careers prior to, but I don't see my career anywhere else besides government at this moment. I couldn't imagine going to private sector just for the simple fact of how rewarding it is and the wide variety of positions that we have. So like I mentioned, we have law enforcement, we have the field positions as well, but we do have a lot of in between when there's 12 different departments and the importance of it all, for sure.
I agree. And you mentioned the stigma attached to government workers. I'd like to think that means the stigma is something really great, but I know that that's not always the case. We're not always looked at as, I guess, as being good, but I know that's not the case. Now, there are different levels of government. I realize that, and I'm always going to be the biggest fan of local government. But I just think that the team that we have here in Auburn works really hard, is dedicated to the community, and wants to do the right thing. Don't you?
Oh, yes, of course. And I think I will say I used to work for state government prior to coming to local government, and I do see a bigger difference. I think at local government, our voices are heard a lot more than at the state level. I think when I was mentioning the stigma, I think that a lot of the new generation thinks we're old, archaic, or
hurts.
Government is slow or something like that. But
we are not old.
We are not old. But that is the stigma that comes. And I think us just reiterating to the next generation is like, that's why we want you here. We want your fresh ideas. We want the eagerness. We want the change. And we're open to hear that as well. So.
You said your voice is heard here at the local level, and maybe, and there are wonderful state workers too. But I'm just going to say, I bet you didn't do a podcast when you worked for the state.
Not
did
at
you?
all. Never.
See,
never.
Your voice is being heard here.
Yes,
Absolutely. Yes. All right, Bree. So back to you. What would you say is an overall goal or objective of the program? Basically, what's the North Star for this program?
I probably would say for the North Star is, of course, to get the younger generation working in local government. And I'm going to say local because we're City of Auburn. We're local.
That's so Auburn.
So that is the goal. But also we want to make sure that we're preparing them for any career that they're going into as well. And so even if that career does not lead them to Auburn, that we're preparing them for their next career. And so with that, making sure that they understand as well that part of that is community service. And so that is why we make sure that they actually get to see the community service projects that each department does. And so that's something I try to make sure that I explain to them, that it touches each department, not just our community development or not just our parks department. Each department has a role to play in that community service that we service the citizens.
Excellent. What type of community service projects have there been? You said some of them have completed 2 or 3. Can you give an example of what those are?
Oh, yes. So some of them have participated in Kids Day, Airport Day, our Juneteenth. They have helped out at our farmers markets, and some of them will be participating in our National Night Out. And so pretty much any event that the City of Auburn has been putting on, we have been making sure to have our interns included in that. And some of them are even in departments where they're already doing community service based upon that department and what they have going on. And so it may not be on our main volunteer list, but they're finding other opportunities. I have them reach out to me all the time and they're like, can I do this? And I'm like, sure. So
that's really inspirational that they're so excited and want to do things. So Melissa, if I were say, listening today and entering my junior year of college next summer, what advice would you give me if I were interested in interning at the amazing city of Auburn? How could I get involved?
Well, I would definitely encourage you to sign up for our virtual networking event that is happening on Tuesday, August 6th. I will be on my way to Hawaii. I will not be here.
So you're going to call in from the plane?
I'll
I
call
think that
in.
is true dedication. That's amazing, Melissa.
So we're doing a virtual networking in the city event. We also have in-person events, but we're going to focus on our internship program. During that one, it's from 1:30 to 3 p.m. It'll be held on Zoom. So we're hopeful that we'll get people who are interested in the program, as well as have a couple of our interns talking about their experiences. And then we really just, at our networking in the city events, we like to provide information that will help people regardless if they come to Auburn or if they apply elsewhere or end up elsewhere. Really, our goal with these events is for people to meet and talk with city employees so that it's less intimidating, less, scary, however they may feel. We're all normal people and we want to help them be successful. And so we'll provide some application tips, interview tips, things like that, so that people feel most prepared when they go to submit an application.
Wonderful. So how, if they're listening today and they want to be involved on this August 6th, Tuesday, while you're in the air flying to Hawaii, how would they find out more about it?
They can reach out to our general email address is humanresources@auburnwa.gov. It's also on our LinkedIn page and our government jobs, the careers page. So if you go looking for a job in Auburn, then you'll find it right at the top for a virtual networking event. We would love to have everybody sign up, and we really enjoy those events. It's really great to see people in person, but we thought that maybe a virtual event would be helpful for students that might be, getting ready to go back to school or just have a little bit of time in the afternoon and not need to worry about finding transportation to City Hall or childcare for people who might have kiddos at home and things like that. So we're hopeful that we'll draw some new interest to the program.
Yes, I think that's an excellent idea. And that's Auburn, Washington. For those of you who may not know, we get confused with different Auburns, Auburn, California, Auburn, New York. I get emails for the mayors of those cities on a regular basis. And there are several Auburns across this country. So make sure when you're looking for it, it's Auburn, Washington. So I've got to know, were any of you interns at any point in your lives?
I was.
You were. Bree, tell me more.
I actually was doing a finance internship with...
I love finance. I love it.
With Raytheon. And so I just had an awesome internship with them. And they really made me feel like I was an actual full-time employee. And so a lot of the things that I have the interns doing is things that I actually did in my internship there. And so the networking events, the community service, all of those things were things that I completed when I was doing my internship. And so I saw a lot of value in it. And I saw the time and effort that the full-time employees put into the interns, especially even knowing that we were only going to be there a couple of months, but they saw the value. Mm-hmm. And so something that I try to bring here to the NextStepAuburn internship.
I love it. Chardae, were you an intern ever?
I was not an intern. I had an externship in the medical field. Okay. So I do have a little bit of a hands-on when going into the field and really kind of getting that, that one-on-one, just understanding exactly what the job is and what it would be like. I learned in my externship. So anybody that's doing an internship could take this as you can kind of make your decision from there. Is this a job for me? And I realized medical wasn't for me. So I moved over to human resources and started my career in government.
I love it. And Bree, you did not have an internship in HR. Yours was in finance. So
it was.
I think what Chardae just said was perfect, that it's a wonderful opportunity for you to figure out whether it's an area that you really are interested in. It's one thing to take classes and to have the academic side of something, but it's quite another to apply that. And I think it's great. And Melissa, how about you? Were you ever an intern?
I was never an intern.
Oh, okay.
I was never an intern.
Went straight to work.
I went straight to work.
Straight to work.
But as Bree mentioned, actually a lot of our program is built on her great experience that she had. And I think we rely heavily on her and her experience to help us build this program and the formality of it. But it's just been so valuable having that experience. And then one of our current interns actually asked about the mock interviews, and we're like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's throw it in. Let's see. And we're going to make that a for sure thing in our plan for next year.
Good. I'm
and we
glad.
want the mayor. Mayor wants to be on.
I want to be involved. I want to be involved. A lot of people think that it's just really hard for the person who is being interviewed in an interview, right? But when you think about it, being on the other side, yes, you know the questions in advance, but you have to realize that you are making an impact on someone's life, right? If you either select them or don't select them to move forward for a job, that's a significant impact on their life. That is a real heavy responsibility. And it's stressful on both sides of the table for that. And I think the more opportunities that we provide for our interns to get more comfortable answering the questions, the better they'll be as employees. We know that sometimes, some people have test anxiety, the same thing with interviews. So the more you can practice, the more you can get used to answering questions, being comfortable in your own skin. That's just a real gift. It's a life skill.
Yes, for sure.
Well, so any stories, any funny stories, any embarrassing stories any of you want to share about maybe the interns here or your internship time? We're not gonna keep it that narrow. If you have something you want to share, that would be great.
I mean, during my internship, I got tasked with going around and auditing everybody, which was great for me because I thought I wanted to be an auditor.
William, are you listening? William, are you listening?
Bree, you wanted to be an auditor?
I wanted to be an auditor. Like that was my thing. I was like, I'm going to be an auditor, and that's what I'm going to do because I like checks and balances. And then I had to do that and go around and make sure that everybody was compliant at the company. And let's just say I don't have the personality for it. And
No, you don't. No, you
Yes,
don't.
I would agree with that.
You're too bubbly.
Literally everybody kept saying that to me. They were like, you can't be an auditor because you don't have the personality. And I was like, oh, I'm going to show them. And so I was going around asking everybody, they have this piece of paper. And they were like, oh, I don't have it. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Everything's all right. It's all right. And then I would mark them like, don't have it. Da, 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 da. And so they were like, she doesn't need to audit anymore. She makes people feel like it's okay. And now we're getting emails like, we're in trouble.
We thought it was okay. Yeah, I worked for the Boeing company, and we had auditors with us all the time. And I want to say right now that auditors are great people, and auditors are a really important part. I consider them partners, right, for the company, because it's not really those gotchas, but really how can they help us be better? But I used to joke with the auditors that would come in and say, so what's it like to be hated before someone even gets to know you? So Bree, I just can't see you having that kind of personality. And again, no offense to any auditor that's out there listening.
That's correct.
I think you're great.
You're awesome.
It's just a joke. So please don't call my office and say that I hate auditors, because I don't. I love auditors. So Chardae, Melissa, Bree, any last thoughts you would like to share today?
I just thank you so much, Mayor, for your support of our program, because I know without your support, we wouldn't have gotten to the place that we are right now. And your support of our team in general is really motivational and makes me proud to be an Auburn employee and part of the support for you and our citizens and my team. And I just thank you.
Well, thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I agree. Because this year, the support for our internship has been above and beyond what I could ever expect for this year. And so the directors have really stepped up and really changed things from last year, made the adjustments and improvements that we needed to keep the internship going. And so also thank you to the directors. So
Yeah, they really have an important role to play. Chardae?
Yeah, I would have to agree with both of them. As I said, my hands are not into it as much as I focus on unaffiliated, but at the end of the day, it's very exciting to have interns at Auburn, as well as just showing the ropes of why choose government. I always want to hone in on that. Just like Melissa said, just another plug to our virtual event that will happen on August 6th from 1:30 to 3 via Zoom. We really are going to focus on why choose government. It's more than just, working with the community and things like that. We do have great benefits and all the other things that come along with a great career. So again, great job, Bree, for always having a positive attitude and making changes when need to, and just
not being an auditor.
Yeah, that part, and just being so flexible and all the things. Every time an intern sees her, she just has such positive feedback from what they're saying, and I know it stems from her and her positivity. So good job, Bree.
I love that.
thank you.
So, Bree, did anyone tell you that I want to do a video with the interns?
No.
A TikTok?
Yeah.
Are
Well,
you doing a TikTok?
I don't know if it's a TikTok video, but
I'm going to put a plug out to Angie because I feel like Angie
will be involved. Yes. I know she will be. We're going to have some fun, and just stay tuned for it.
Yes, that'll be even more exciting.
So exciting.
Yeah, go Team Auburn, and thank you so much for ensuring our next generation is properly cultivated for the city of Auburn. And ladies, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.